All right, I'd like to call the Thursday, January 19th, 2023 regular meeting of the Clearlake City Council to order. Madam Clerk, can we do a roll call?
Councilmember Slotin,
Present.
Councilmember Kramer,
Here.
Vice Mayor Claffey,
Here.
Mayor Purdock,
Here.
and Councilmember Overton is absent.
Thank you. Can we rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I
I, allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic.
We could remain standing. Last week, we lost someone very dear to us, Robert Viamontes, a senior maintenance worker here with the city of Clearlake. He was with us for 4 years, joined the city in 2018. I'd like to take a moment of silence for him. Thank you. City Manager Flora, do we have any changes to the agenda?
Yeah, we'd like to pull item number 2. Our recreation coordinator is not able to be here tonight, so we'll put this off until she can be back.
Okay, thank you so much. Can I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the agenda as revised.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilmember Kramer, a second from Mayor Purdock. Madam Clerk, can we do a roll call?
Councilmember Slotin,
Aye.
Councilmember Kramer,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Claffey,
Aye.
and Mayor Purdock.
Aye.
All right, let's move on to item number 1, presentation of January's adoptable dogs. And Lieutenant Snyder?
Good evening, members of the council. All right, so I'm here today to assist North Bay. With me, I have Alyssa and Jackie, and they have Noah. I'm gonna give the last year's statistics for the shelter, and then we'll let the ladies introduce Noah to you. So for last calendar year, we took in 389 dogs into the shelter. Out of the 389 dogs, 303 have left the shelter. 169 went to rescues. 102 were returned to their owners. 30 were adopted. We had 2 medical euthanizations and 1 owner request. We have a live release rate of 99%. All right. Then the 2 ladies here are going to come over and they're just going to talk to you a bit about Noah. Oh.
Hi, so we have Noah here tonight. He is definitely a staff and shelter favorite. He's about 3 to 4 years old. He would do great in a home with other dogs. He's very social and most likely cats as well. He has a very happy, carefree personality. He definitely loves his people, as you can tell. He is neutered and up to date on all vaccinations. If you'd like to learn more about Noah, you can come on down to the shelter. We're open 9 to 6, Tuesday through Saturday, and we can walk you through and meet all the rest of the dogs as well.
Wonderful. Any questions?
Yeah, how many dogs do we have in the shelter now?
I do not have a certain number. We do have quite a few, but we are doing really good on spay and neuter statistics. There's only 18 dogs left at the shelter who are not spayed or neutered.
18 that are not spayed or neutered, so. But quite a few means more than normal. Quite a few more than normal.
Yes.
Can you see any decrease in the rate at which we're coming in?
We have had quite a few adoptions lately. We actually had 2 today. Both
Hey.
Mila and Snowball got adopted, so that's a big hooray. And we had a couple parties come in to look at dogs today too, so there are more.
More
We're
going
seeing
out
more
than coming
public
in
coming
finally?
in. Yeah.
That's great news.
Councilmember Slutin, any questions?
No.
And Mayor Purdock?
No, thank you.
Wonderful. Are you sure he's not a husky?
Very playful.
Wonderful. Thank you all
Thank
so
you.
much.
Get to go for a ride, he liked it.
All right, let's move on to public comment. This is the time for any member of the public to address the city council on any matter not on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city. The Brown Act, with limited exceptions, does not allow the council or staff to discuss the issues brought forth under public comment. I know we have a few in the audience here. Mr. Greg Rippey? Yep.
I haven't been here for a while, but I was just curious on the CRV recycling, if there's any like plans to bring it back or get another one.
You can't comment,
You can't comment?
perhaps, unless.
City Manager Flora, do you have?
I can provide a little bit of information if you would like.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so there's no immediate plans to bring that back. We have had interest from a few possible providers looking at sites. We understand this is a challenge. Our waste hauler is looking at some solutions, but it's also quite difficult to get permits through the state. And, I don't know what to say on what timing may be like. I mean, we are trying to encourage something to happen, but no
Yeah.
guarantees, yeah.
I have a little route. I pick up trash on the way home. I live out past the gooseneck and have a utility truck. I pick up little pull over as needed, and it was like, over time, there's like, you see more bottles and cans and stuff. I mean, people shouldn't throw them out at all, but over time it's like, oh, there's more, and I noticed the line out there was getting bigger and bigger, and then I was collecting them, and like my reward was like, for collecting these, I'm going to recycle them and get a pizza once a year. So then I was going there, it was like, the line is so big, I just start like giving the recycle cans to someone, like, oh, just take them. I don't even have time to wait an hour, but now the place is closed, so I was just curious on that, because, I'm sure other people are too, but yeah, so I was just gonna wonder about that.
The only place available in Lake County is at Robinson Rancheria.
Yeah, so, all right.
Well, thank you. Thank you for cleaning up the litter as well. I know.
Yeah.
Maybe we can figure out a way to get you a pizza party.
Yeah.
Mr. Chris Jennings?
Good evening, everyone. Chris Jennings. So I'm actually here to talk about the environmental disaster going on next to my property. It's really unfortunate. Go down Dam Road, make a left on Wilkinson Street Ave, whatever that's called. Go a little ways up to 6th Avenue. About several hundred feet past that, you'll find an area you can make a right. Make a right there. You'll find everything. It's the new Reed's chopping spot, I guess you could call it. All the cars go there to die. All the garbage gets dumped there. The homeless is there. You kind of get used to it. The cars revving up 24/7. The dogs barking, the children screaming, the women screaming, the guys screaming, the gunfire. You kind of just get used to all that. You do everything in your part on your property to make sure that your property is taken care of. I've complained on this matter since Greg Folsom days. I've owned my property since 2017. So for 5 years now, I've been dealing with this. I've actually cleaned up a substantial amount of garbage on my property. It's mind-boggling what I took off my property. Fenced my property, limbs everything up, all the water fuel gone. My property is immaculate, in my opinion. The rains were coming. I knew the rains were going to come. I complained for several months in a more formal matter, better documentation, that all this is in a water course that dumps into a 2-acre-foot pond on my property that dumps into about a 5-acre-foot pond. Each acre-foot's, 365,000 gallons of water, I believe. Substantial ponds. The second pond is spring-fed wildlife, fire-bellied salamanders, bullfrogs, ospreys. Come on, you name it. Every animal is there. That water then flows out of there into Cache Creek. Before it gets to Cache Creek, I believe it goes through a part of a grassy area. I see cows often there, and I believe those cows are yours, Mr. Kramer, and your cows are probably drinking that water, eating the grass from the garbage. So in the middle of all the rain we had a couple weeks ago, I walked back out to check on everything, check my land. Being in cannabis, you got to really make sure your runoff, your water, how you shed your water, everything is well taken care of. I walk back there and I see garbage in my first pond. I see a prescription pain pill, or prescription medicine, jar floating around in my pond. Walk several hundred feet up to my fence line, meandering water course that's flowing still, and it will be flowing, garbage dotted all throughout. There's a fence to get to my fence line. Probably shouldn't have a fence there because of the water. On the other side of that is garbage, and if it wasn't for my rabbit-style fencing, the small holes at the bottom, all the garbage would be on my side. It's probably equivalent to a small dumpster on the ground right there. And you look further back and you can see where it's all coming from. I'm really surprised it's not oil and all these other weird things leaching into my water yet. But it is really concerning that this is going on. And I've done all that I could to do what I can do. And I'm asking for help. This is so, it's just, I don't know. It's unfortunate that this is happening, and I challenge everyone in this room to drive back there and take a look at what we're dealing with. I send drone photos. I'll be really quick, I'm sorry. I've sent numerous photos to Alan, so he's well aware of the situation. It's never been to complain and attack anyone here. It's always been to be like, hey, I'm here. I'm looking out for you all just as much as myself, and whatever I can do, I'm going to do what I can do to help out as much as possible. I drone that property often. I submit those photos. I sent these photos to Mr. Claffey, Mr. Kramer, our city manager. I'm not here saying you're not doing a good job. I'm just saying that I don't think we have enough people to do a good job. And we really need to take a look at this because I get fish and game inspections, and the last thing I need is a stake through my heart and shut me down because of garbage, because of inspection of me trying to do the right thing the entire time.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you so
Jennings.
much.
All right, Miss.
Mr. Claffey,
Yes.
I would like to share a little bit of information with the council, just so you're aware related to this. We are aware of this issue. Code enforcement has initiated 20 cases in the area. 4 of them have been voluntarily abated, and 16 of them are still current. Code enforcement did contact Mr. Jennings last week about checking out the area. He did state at that time he didn't think it was necessary to meet with code enforcement further about that. And so just letting you know that's the current status, and we're actively working on it.
Thank you, City Manager. All right, Miss Nancy Dingler.
I came before this body about 10 years ago and came to nothing. So I thought I'd try again because now things are getting bad. In the 10 years, Country Club Drive, we have a larger population. We have a lot more traffic. It's posted 45 miles an hour coming down off the hill by Sulphur Bank. That means those people coming down there are doing 60. The other direction is 35. Those people are doing 50. They think it's a highway. It's not a highway. Last week, there was the most blood-curdling, frightening, horrible sound. Couldn't tell whether it was an animal or a human. Turned out to be one of those 60-milers hit a dog and dragged it. And the whole time it was dying, it just sounded absolutely horrible. Now, my solution to it is that we make 13th a 3-way stop. And at the top there at Arrowhead, where the 5-way intersection is, put a stop sign there too. And that way might slow some of it down. Now, the second part of my agenda is that we had a lake form in front of our driveway and mailbox, as everyone did during the rains. And I couldn't get medicine or packages delivered. The reason being is that there is a drainage pipe that goes across from my ditch to the field across the way. Over the years, in spite of my going out and protest physically, the road crews have filled it in with patch material, so it no longer functions. And I'm hoping that next year, as a road crew told me they're going to do that section of Country Club this year, I hope that they put the pipe back so that it works. So that's my two things.
Thank you.
All right, do we have any other public comment here in the room? Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment online?
There are no hands raised in the Zoom, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Thank you. All right, I will close this public comment period, and we will move on to item G, the consent agenda. Does anyone on the council have anything they want to pull from the consent agenda? Okay, seeing none, anything that the public would like to pull on the consent agenda? Okay, seeing none, I'll take a motion on this.
Mr. Vice Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Kramer, a second by Councilmember Overton. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Slotin?
Aye.
Councilmember Overton?
Aye.
Councilmember Kramer?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Claffey?
Aye.
And Mayor Purdock?
Aye.
All right, let's move on to business. Item 9, an update on the Lake County Recreation Task Force. City Manager Flora?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor, council members. Just wanted to circle back and give a little bit of an update on the progress related to creation of a countywide sort of recreation district, joint powers authority. So continue to work on this. Efforts are ongoing. Where we are now is the three entities have got together and hired Jones Hall as bond counsel and NHA as municipal advisor, and these are the same two groups that we worked with recently on our Measure V debt financing proposal. And so we did attach the two feasibility studies that were done over the past, I guess, year and a half, just for your information. But we have put together a term sheet for the Joint Powers Authority. That's getting close, and legal is, all of our legal departments are reviewing the JPA agreement itself, and our plan is to bring that back to each of the jurisdictions in February, hopefully for approval. The idea being that at that time, we'd actually create the JPA. Each of the jurisdictions would appoint their representatives on the JPA board, and then that would begin to function. We've already engaged a polling firm, and they have started their work on preparing to do some polling and see how this program would come together and be supported by the community. There's kind of a lot we could get into. I'm happy to try to address questions you have, but at this time, the plan is to go after some type of financing scheme that would support the construction of 2 recreation facilities in the county, one at our Burns Valley Sports Complex, and one at Westside Park in Lakeport, at least initially. So covering, we still intend to pursue some grant funding and things for construction of those, but sort of cover the gap and then provide operational revenue to operate those facilities into the future. And I feel like things are going pretty well at this point. We would like the council, we don't need a decision today, but to be thinking about who you would like to appoint to serve on that JPA board. The way we have it written up at this time and what you'll see in the agreement coming forward in February is that Each of the three jurisdictions would have 2 seats on the board, one of which must be an elected member of the body. It can be 2, but it has to be at least 1. And then once those 6 members are seated, the 6 will appoint 1 additional sort of at-large member from, it could be another elected official, but someone in the Lake County community. So there's still a lot of things to be determined. We plan on doing kind of initial round of polling to see what funding mechanism may be more acceptable, try to see how close we are to a supermajority of support, and then that will likely require some decisions to be made, perhaps some adjustments to be made in the plan, and then a final polling would be done on that plan to determine the actual level of support before it goes on the ballot. At this point, the plan would be to try to meet the deadlines for May 2024 ballot. So that's kind of the overview. I'll be happy to try and address questions that the council may have.
All right, Councilmember Kramer.
Yeah, just one. We talked a little the other day about it, but in reviewing the 2 feasibility studies that are attached here, they look to be, and I didn't have them side by side by the ones we got a year ago, but they look to me to be pretty much the same. Is there any great differences between those 2 studies?
Well, I mean, the second one got more specific than the initial one. The second one kind of focused in on the 2 sites. We kind of had our site, because we're moving forward on, other stuff there, that was kind of really the only site in the city that we looked at. But Lakeport was considering a couple of other options in their area. The Board of Supervisors wanted to consider some other options in the unincorporated area, so there was some analysis done there. But the end result was that these 2 sites were the most feasible for a number of reasons.
Still the most feasible even, were last year.
And then there were some initial cost estimates and whatnot for both operation and construction of those facilities included in the phase 2. As well as, you may recall, there was a presentation, there was a pretty extensive community survey that was done related to this and showed, of course, very widespread support in the community for this type of thing. But, a survey and actual polling of registered voters can be quite different, so.
Yeah, those that pay taxes and vote may not agree with others, but anyhow, it's the same, pretty close to the same state, to me it looked like, anyway, and you did mention Middletown as a possible 3rd site.
Well, I mean, there have been some discussions at the staff level, at least with the task force, about the possibility of the county kind of adding the Middletown pool into sort of the recreation district ownership, and so there would be those 3 facilities that would be operated by the JPA.
That would be what's in the polling, all 3 of the sites.
Well, I don't know. I don't know, to be honest, if the plan is to put anything in the polling about the Middletown location or not, but I mean, the Board of Supervisors at some point would have to make some decision on whether they want to do that or not. And that decision hasn't been made. It's just been discussed, at some of our meetings. But
I would think it would impact the polling if it were in there or were not in there in some regard, especially from the South County people that are polled. Okay, just my thought. Okay.
All right, Councilmember Overton.
Well, I want to thank you, Ellen, for, sitting down with me and going over this. I had some concerns on how this was all going to work, because it always seems like Lakeport seems to be the concentrated area, and we're not. Even though we're going on, we're still going to need future funding. So I think that the JPA is a good idea. Because I really think we need to have our voices in there for sure. But, you know, one of the things when I was reading through it, they were talking about the different ways of funding, and one happened to be a bond. I don't think bonds are ever going to pass again. I think people are bonded out. You know, we went through that where I was paying $900 for taxes. Now with all the bonds and everything, it's like $2,200. So I think we really hope that everybody looks more towards a tax, a special tax than a bond. I just don't think that the homeowners will yeah, and they're mainly the voters, so unfortunately, that's the way it is going to go for this if it goes for a bond. But hopefully, that's going to be one of the questions that's going to be asked in the polling, correct?
Yeah, I believe we haven't seen the first draft yet, but that first, you know, we're going to take kind of two stabs at it. And the first one, I think, will ask questions about the sort of acceptability of different funding options, and we'll try to get a read on that. And then the JPA, hopefully at that point, would be in a place that they could actually make a decision on how to go forward. The JPA body would be seated at that point and move on from there, so.
Yeah, so, but thanks for taking your time this week, because I was kind of like, I don't know about this stuff. So, but I appreciate that you took your time out at the last minute to talk to me.
Councilmember Slutin.
Yeah, I have just a couple of observations. The pool issue in Lakeport, I think that's a sore subject in Lakeport. The second part is, if I look at some of the locations of the county, the one in Upper Lake and the one in Middletown appear to be, to me, in flood zone. So I have some concern about those two items. And how much money are we going to spend after we find out? So basically, how much money are we going to spend through the polling? Because, I mean, I'm real concerned of what the polling should show.
Well, and this is a little, the process I described is not exactly what the polling companies normally do. They normally just, you have the thing that you want to propose, and they do the polling on that. But, you know, we don't want to go through the whole process and find out that there's, 40% support out there for the plan. And so that's why we've kind of broken it up into these two phases. So, I mean, there is the possibility. I mean, we believe that there is a lot of support in the community, and the community sees the need for this type of thing. But if the polling comes back very negative from the beginning, then, we may drop the whole thing and not move forward with it. And then as far as Clearlake is concerned, we still see the need, I believe, here. And, we would continue with the sports complex project. We have the funding in place for that. We would identify additional funding to complete the rec center and still try to move forward by completing that project that would just stay under the city's management.
Don't get me wrong, I'm all in favor of it. I'm just real concerned what everybody is in favor of a recreation center, but once you have to pay for it and how you're going to pay for it, that might become will become an issue.
I think, if I recall correctly, I think that sort of first stab at the polling is planned to happen in March. So it won't be too long until kind of we know the lay of the land, and we'll know. I mean, my assumption is we're going to know how much effort we need to put into sort of marketing the concept to the community, rather than whether it's a go or no go. But
All right, Mayor Purdock.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. So I think most recently we did a poll for Measure V. We wanted to make sure that we got the input from the community and the voters before we put it on the ballot. It was very beneficial. It was really educational, I think, for all of us. And we held to it and did what the people wanted us to do. I think that's very important for this project as well, and becoming involved in the JPA, I think would, as Councilmember Overton pointed out, would give us a voice where otherwise there would not be. So yeah, I very much support this and would like to see it go forward. And again, using the polling to know what the community wants is always important.
All right, let's open it up to public comment.
one quick comment I remind of. So we did an RFP for polling firms, and if I recall correctly, I'm 95% sure that the firm that we selected was the same firm that did Measure V for the city back in the day, so.
Good.
Thank you, City Manager. Let's open up to public comment. I see no one in the room here. City Clerk, anyone on Zoom?
There are no hands raised on the Zoom, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Thank you. So let's bring it back. City Manager Flora, do you need direction here?
Well, I mean, I think you've shared some concerns about what funding sources you think may or may not work, so I'm happy to share that with the task force as we move forward. We don't really need anything else unless for some reason you want to change direction and tell me to stop engaging on this. It doesn't sound like that's the case. And then I guess just, be thinking about who would like to volunteer to participate on the JPA. And then in February, we'll be coming back both with a presentation on the JPA agreement itself and an appointment of 2 members to serve on that body. So,
Wonderful. Any other comments from the council? Seeing none, let's move on to item number 10. Item number 10, Mr. Flora.
yeah, thank you, Vice Mayor, council members. So we have Brian Fisher here, Executive Director of the Lake County Tourism Improvement District. And I think we'll just let him explain what he's doing here. I'm going to have some slides from him that I will put up while he's getting ready.
Thank you. Perfect. Thank you very much for having me, Vice Mayor, Mayor, council members, and city staff. Really appreciate it. It is time to renew our district. We created the district in 2018, as many of you may know, and we had the district for 5 years, so it will sunset the current district this December of 23. And so we started about 6 months ago down the renewal process, and we are ready to cross that finish line, we hope. It's been a long journey to renewal. It's almost the exact same process to renew as it was to create the district, pretty much is. We actually have our consultant here in the Zoom meeting if you have any questions from Civitas. But it's been a long journey, and we've learned a bunch through it, and wanted to kind of bring you guys up to date. And first of all, start off with a beautiful slide from the Clearlake Marina and Lodge. They're beautiful. They've done a great job. They are also supporters of the renewal of the district, Bob over there and his bosses. Take you through a really quick, I know everybody here is pretty much really heard and seen most of this information, but as you know, when we started in 2018, we had a $25,000 grant from Visit California. That was grant money to help us figure out our branding. So we spent that with our agency to figure out what was our brand voice, what was our position in the marketplace. We looked at credit card data from top 10 lodging establishments in Lake County to figure out where people came from, identify those demographics, and identify those zip codes. And that was really what we did in 2019 when we really had very little money. We had nothing really coming in until 2019. And then in 2020, we were getting ready to start in March our media campaign, March 15th to be exact. And it just, we figured we'd wait a week, we'd wait a month. We threw it all away and we waited a couple of years because nothing was the same after March 15th, 2020. But I think rather smartly and strategically, we worked on our social media, which is really soft advertising. It's something that's super important in today's media marketplace. And we hired a media contractor, Karen Pavoni, who most of you probably know and have seen her work, does a great job. She's very current. She keeps things very lively. She posts 5 times a week on our website, and she grew in 2020 our Facebook following by over 120%, up to 33,000 people. So we built a nice organic audience for the county to be able to talk to. That continues to grow, actually. So, and then in 2021, we really stepped out and felt like it was important to try to change people's opinions of Lake County in places where we know we draw a lot of visitors, i.e. the Bay Area, San Francisco, and the Sacramento Valley. And so we took two very strategic billboards in both of those markets, downtown Sacramento in Midtown and in San Francisco. We rotated the creative through about a series of 6 months and created just millions of positive impressions for Lake County. I can't tell you how many people from Lake County that I received pictures and selfies of them in front of the billboards. People were really enthusiastic about seeing Lake County in a major market with a really positive message. But as David knows, that's very top of the funnel stuff. That's really trying to just change people's opinions of something. And so it was fun, but it's not something that we'll be able to sustain. But that was our tactic for the most part in 2021. And then this last year, we kind of got more brass tacks. We created the map, which all of you know. It's the physical map that we've distributed throughout all of our hotels, all of our restaurants, and then more importantly, about 65,000 of those maps are up and down the I-5 corridor, trying to reach people in a drive market area that we know we are. So we wanted to reach outside again in a very strategic way. And then on our website, we incorporated something that's called Book Direct. It's a widget that actually is a booking widget that allows people to get further down that funnel in terms of closer to making a reservation at one of our establishments, who are the people that we actually serve. And so that booking widget exists in 3 different places on our website, and it's the main fulcrum of our advertising and social media. We show series of different properties in social media, and the link then takes them to the booking widget. So we've seen great success with the booking widget. We still have more to do with the booking widget, to be honest with you. It's new. But those are some of the key things. And really all along this process, when we started in 2018, we had about 6,000 people that year, 2018, that were unique visitors to our lodging site. And just this last year, we were over 86,000. So we know we're reaching people, we know they're coming to our site, and we know that they're interested in Lake County. So we got to keep the effort going. This is, the old saying, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. We have to stay in it. So the next slide shows what we're doing in terms of renewal. So we went out in the district to our stakeholders with a 3% renewal request, was the petition. And we only got so far with 3%. And then we had to call in the heavies. Thank you, Alan. And so we needed help. I mean, it was hard. And so we have negotiated from our 3% assessment to a 2.5% assessment, which I still feel is going to give us the right amount of resources to really run this district. We really struggled at 1.5%, to be honest with you. There's just not enough resources there to do the job. And so 2.5%, based on the county numbers, are going to give us a budget of about $386,000 in 2024. And you'll see over 75% of that is going to go directly into marketing, whether it's Google search, whether it's social, whether it's whatever we choose to do, whatever tactic we choose to do. But 75% of those dollars are going to leave the county to create positive impressions and get people back into the county. And then you'll see the rest of the numbers there in terms of what we're doing. But the other thing that's key about this renewal of the district is we're renewing the district for 10 years. No more 5 years, let's renew. So a 10-year district, we're actually legally allowed to go for 10, which is going to be very helpful. It'll take all the focus off of we got to renew this district and start in 4 years. So 10 years is where we're renewing the district. And then our next slide shows that we have actually hit our stakeholder support number, which is why we're here. And I guess you have to pump it again. We were over at 50.88%, which, okay, doesn't sound like a lot, but it puts us over the 50% threshold. And then in the last slide here, you'll see we did it with most of the biggies. There's a whole bunch of little folks out there that comprise that other half, all the Airbnbs, all the small folks. Not that they're not important, but reaching them is really difficult. But we did it with really the big names. And so they're all supportive of the district. We're going to move it forward, and we're here to ask today for your consent to include the city of Clearlake in the reformation of the 2024 Tourism Improvement District.
Thank you so much, Brian. Any questions? Councilmember Kramer?
Hi, Brent, thank you, that was a great report. 50.88%, now does that other 49.12%, are they paying into TIT?
They will. It
It
is.
will be.
Yeah, it is a district of like-minded businesses who agrees to assess itself.
And have
so
you found all the Airbnbs, or how do you get to them to get them?
we're
to
doing
pay?
a lot better. I have to say, there's a lot out there, but, you know, my message, I mean, you guys don't have a ton of them in Clearlake, your city limits. Most of them seem to lie out in the county, but what's changed a little bit is the platform itself is allowing people to now charge tax at the time of booking. Prior to this, you had to have professional access. And now they actually do allow professional tools to individual stakeholders. So you can charge the tax at the time, and we're seeing a lot more of that. We are seeing a bit more compliance, but it's still a problem. We still need better compliance in the short-term rental space.
And where are you falling now with the combination of TOT and TID in regard to the rest of the state?
We're still a little under really where everybody else is, to be honest with you. We're going to be, I mean, you guys are 9.5%? You're 9. It's Lakeport that's 9.5. And then the county is 9. So we'll be right at 13%.
Including both TOT,
Correct.
TID,
And that's really at the low end. Everybody's got such different formulas. I mean, Emily is on the go right now. You know, Mendocino, I look at a lot because it's just our closest partner to see how they do it. And there's, you know, they get a percentage of TOT to run their TID. We kind of have worked with the county, and they tend, well, what we've been given is just a set amount, which is $78,000. So, you know, everybody's kind of got a different way of doing it. Up in South Lake Tahoe, they do room taxes. So it's a room tax per night. Everybody's kind of got a different way of looking at it. But in the end, Councilmember Kramer, we're on the low end of where it is.
Okay, and then you said you were reached by, or you reached, I forget the percentage you said. Those that you reached, did you reach them because they came and stayed here, or just because they responded to
On the website, right?
the website?
Just a website click.
Oh, yeah. No, it's users to a website. It's traffic to the website. It's traffic to our listings of our accommodations.
Any idea what the percentage of those that actually booked a room?
We do not know conversions, and the only way we would know a conversion is if we were receiving the data from our stakeholders on the very end of the conversion chain.
Would that be something of value to you to try
It would be huge.
build into it?
We kind of started off with what we wanted. We originally, when we first started this, somewhat naively thought that we could get everybody to join what is called STAR reports. STAR reports are pretty standard reporting for occupancy, revenue per night. It's where you really get your hardcore data. And we actually negotiated a deal with the STAR folks to have the first year be actually free. And we got absolutely nowhere.
Really? Wow.
People aren't really interested in sharing their data. We have a lot of mom and pop folks here, and then our franchises don't really see that is really of any value to them. They've got very sophisticated systems. So we haven't been able to get there, and I don't know with the current stakeholders that that's something that we're going to get to. We still have, none of our casinos use booking engines. You have to call Twin Pine Casino to make a reservation. No booking
They want all the
engine.
money.
Pardon?
Because they want all the money.
I don't know. So I mean, everybody's in a different place. Everybody's in a different place, and so you just kind of, when you get down to that level, you have to kind of go, okay. Well, this is as close as we're going to get.
Okay.
I know on my website, because I run 7 rooms, I know exactly how many conversions come from Visit Lake County, and it's like the third referral website to my website. So I see it coming directly to me. But I am not as sophisticated enough to actually track the conversion on my side either.
I think I asked the same question a year ago, and
That's
it
right.
was the same answer.
Yep.
Thank you.
Councilmember Overton.
Well, isn't there something on the website that once they clicked that booking part, that at least would tell you that they're booking through your site? There's a count. Is there a count that you can get from just that section with maybe not going all the way to who they booked with, but the point is, did they click on that booking?
Correct.
You
We
know.
do have that. And we
Okay.
have those numbers, and like last month, it was 936
Yeah.
folks clicked directly to a website that they'd put in a number, put in a date, and they went directly to Book Direct.
Right.
And so we do have that number. What we don't get is the completion of the conversion.
Right. Whether they actually book the.
Correct.
the
It could
thing.
just
And
be
you
looky-loos
can estimate
and-
50% of those might book, so,
Right.
yeah, so, okay. Because I was just curious, like, was one of the things, at least you know if they're actually hitting that booking part to go through, so that's good that you have at least that.
Mm-hmm.
So, gives you a little bit of an idea, but it's too bad that, I mean, everybody wants to keep their information in, all these businesses think that they're, but I think people really need to learn that, doing everything in unity together creates more business for everybody, even if you're the same type of business. And I've had problems with other businesses that I've worked with, convincing them to work all together because they all benefit, with the thought of, oh no, they're gonna take some of my money. And I think that's where the part is it's gonna be the convincing part of even the little people, that they would benefit more if they actually joined the group. So I think there might need to be some marketing towards that type of idea of you know, the more the merrier type thing. So yeah, I think maybe that's part of the marketing part that I think I would kind of focus on this next year.
Yeah, we're going to lean heavily in on our widget to try to just really push it. And I had a conversation with the agency today about it, and there's a lot. I'm talking with Simple View people who actually own the widget, or we contract with. But yeah, it is hard. I mean, and so like the same booking widget that we have on our website totally is the engine for Visit Vail. So Visit Vail, they don't even list all their properties. All they have is the Book Direct engine on their website. So they rely on it like hugely. I mean, that's a hyper hospitality marketplace. So it's the tools are there. You just have to get the buy-in, and everybody has to. And then the problem is we don't have a lot of booking engines in our. I mean, not everybody has one.
Right. True.
That's the way it is.
All right, Councilmember Slutin, I saw your hand up earlier.
Yeah, I think I have a kind of a follow-up and same question as Councilman Kramer has of how to be able to track how successful you are, kind of, you probably have some personal opinion on it, and then I would like to hear that too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, in general, where we've come in the last 4 years is kind of remarkable, just because we really started with absolutely nothing. And I feel like what we've done, and I like to in my head think of it as like we went through this really fast startup stage where we created this entity, this marketing organization, and we know what it can do, and we know the pieces that we need. And it's there now. It's not something we have to dream about. We know what we need to do, and we know how to do it. We know how to execute. The thing that we've been running into is truthfully just there's not enough resources to fund the organization, and thus the renewal at 2.5%, to be honest with you. But I look at the data all the time. I mean, we have data like you can't imagine how much data we have. And it's really encouraging. It's really insightful, and I think we're moving the right direction. We just have to keep at it. And this is going to be a soft year, everybody. We had to renew the district. We had to spend a lot of resources to renew the district. We're dark this month, January. I mean, you don't turn off advertising just like you don't stop a clock to save time.
We do have water now, though.
Pardon? We do have water. That's a huge thing.
And most will be here this summer.
We have Hutopia with 65 or whatever, 80, total cool glamping tents. That's perfect for our market. And you guys have some projects in the works here in Clearlake. I mean, things are really looking good in the right direction, and we've got that organization now. We just need to kind of stay with it, and that's really what we're here to say is continue to support it, and we'll continue to make it work.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, any questions from you?
No, sir.
All right, let's open it up to the, oh, Councilmember Slutin, yes.
Just a quick follow-up. Thank you for all you're doing with that, Brian. It's you're inspirational. So thank you for taking this on.
You're welcome.
All right, let's open it up to the public. Anyone in the hall here have a comment? Seeing none, City Clerk, anything on Zoom?
There are no hands raised on the Zoom, Mr. Vice Mayor.
All right, I'll bring it back to council. I do want to say, to get us to 50%, the work that you did, Brian, and you, Alan, to talk with our various business owners, to convince them to see the value of an organization like this was really impressive. So thank you for that work. Councilmember Kramer.
Yes, I'd like to echo Vice Mayor's comments. You, Alan, Brian, you've both done a tremendous job on getting this through. And I, for one, am for it, and I'd like to go ahead and make a motion, if I may.
I would say go ahead.
And, Mr. Vice Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 2023-05 and read by title only. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Clearlake, State of California, granting consent to the County of Lake to renew the Lake County Tourism Improvement District, LCTID.
We have a motion by Councilmember Kramer, a second by Councilwoman Overton. Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call?
Councilmember Slotin?
Aye.
Councilmember Overton?
Aye.
Councilmember Kramer?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Claffey?
Aye.
And Mayor Purdock.
Aye.
All right, it passes. Director Fisher, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your support.
For everything.
Thanks, Brian.
All right, let's move on to item number 11. Director Wells.
The council, sitting as the successor agency to the former Clearlake Redevelopment Agency, is required to approve an annual ROPS, recognized obligation payment schedule, as a part of the wind down of the former redevelopment agency. With your approval of this ROPS for the fiscal year 23-24, it will then be presented to the Lake County Oversight Board on January 26 for approval, and then submitted to the State Department of Finance by February 1st. The expenses on the ROPS 23-24 are consistent with expenses in previous years, with the biggest expense being the annual bond payment for the bonds issued by the former redevelopment agency, with about $13.5 million outstanding. We recommend the council approve the ROPS 23-24, and I'll try to address any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? All right, seeing none, I will open up to public comment. The public's just meandering, so we'll check on Zoom. Are there any comments on Zoom?
There are no hands raised on the Zoom, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Thank you. I'll bring it back to council for a motion.
Want to do this?
Well, I'll do this.
Go ahead.
I'd like to make the motion to read resolution number SA-2023-01, read it by title only. A resolution of the successor agency to the City of Clearlake Redevelopment Agency approving, recognizing obligations payment scheduled 23-24 for the period of July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024.
I'll second that, Mr. Vice Mayor.
We have a motion by Councilmember Overton, a second by Councilmember Kramer. Can we have a roll call?
Member Slotin?
Aye.
Member Overton?
Aye.
Member Kramer?
Aye.
Vice Chair Claffey?
Aye.
And Chair Purdock.
Aye.
All right, that vote passes. Let's move on to item I, City Manager Report.
Just a few things, Vice Mayor, council members. The city's had a few email issues today. Just want to let you know some of our outgoing messages have been bouncing back, so keep an eye. If you get any bounce backs, you might have to resend some things, and hopefully that will be resolved shortly. I want to just share a few things primarily related to trash and garbage. We did have a meeting with our waste hauler this week about some analysis that we've been doing that indicates that a number of property owners within the city do not either have mandatory garbage service or an exemption as required by the municipal code. And so the waste hauler is going to be doing some additional work. Primarily, their drivers are going to be identifying those folks, and then we'll be passing those along through our normal process when we identify folks without the required garbage service through our code enforcement division. So we are in the process of applying for some funds through Cal Recycle again for property abatement. So hopefully we're successful in that effort. And then just the last thing I wanted to mention, through our Clean California grant, there's a number of free pickup days for garbage. We had the first one in December. There's one coming up each month for the next 4 months, January 28th, February 25th, March 18th, April 22nd. The December event went really well. These will not be at the landfill. They are being held at Redbud Park. And there is information on our website and on social media that's going out about this. You must be a Clearlake resident to participate. You must pre-register. You can't just show up. You just have to register through the website. But excited to provide as many opportunities as we can to reduce illegal dumping and blight in our community. So with that, that's my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Kramer.
Yes, not very much happening. We had a Lake Links meeting. We had lost one member, stepped down, looking for another one, trying to entice Councilmember Overton to step into that if she's willing to. She'd be very well qualified to do it. That's about all that really have in the way of reports. I would like to thank Chief Hobbs for keeping us very well informed over the last couple of weeks of significant events that have impacted the city. So thank you. That's all I have.
Councilmember Overton.
I don't have a lot to say. I do want to also thank the chief, because that is nice to have that information very quickly, by the way, so it was nice to have that. I do want to remind people that we do have the Lions Crab Feed this weekend. If you haven't bought your tickets, you probably won't get one, because I think they pretty much sold out. So I take that back. I think there was 4 left. There might be 4 left. So if anybody wants them, they might want to contact them tonight. I don't know people looking, but I've been posting online the different things we can do with that senior center and community center. It can look a lot different than what we've just had it. So I hope people are kind of checking out the Facebook and seeing the different things that have happened there. The Praise of Zions did a nice layout there and had it totally looking different than just the curtains and the lights. I'm going to try to bring forward some different things that people can do and realize that can be a very, very elegant place if they want to have a nice wedding there or something. So I'm really trying to push that people rent our facility. Our prices are reasonable, and for what they get there compared to other places. So I think the marketing in our facility needs to happen and get that rented out more. So I've kind of started that myself. So if you haven't looked at it, go on my Facebook and check it out. We have pictures on there. So
Wonderful. Great way to support the senior center. Councilmember Slutin.
2 things. I attended the LAFCO meeting right before yesterday, before I left to Sacramento. A couple of things happened. Obviously, the termination of the South Lakeport annexation. They're anticipating some MSRs. One of them is the city of Clearlake, based on that we've had a new general plan in place for some time, and also the fire district in relations to the new fire maps that have just come out. So those are the 2 kind of things that the LAFCO is anticipating to work on this year.
Great, thank you. For me, I attended the PEG board meeting this week with the guidance of with Supervisor Sabatier. We are putting the finishing touches on a kit, Navy kit that can go out to all the different town halls in Lake County and offer some more transparency into the work everyone is doing here. Got to attend a Cal Cities policy meeting. Really looking forward to being on the Community Policy Board this year for Cal Cities. So as we start digging into some of the bills that are heading to the Capitol, I'll inform you all of when we need to get our dander up. And then the seafood boil for the Rotary will be February 25th. So if you haven't gotten tickets yet, hop onto the Rotary website. Another great fundraiser or opportunity for this community, and I believe the funds are going to support our local youth center. So if you want to help out, might as well get a great dinner on top of that. And that's it for me, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I'd like to thank Councilmember Kramer. He was instrumental in attending the Chamber of Commerce elections, and we have a new board in place for the Chamber this year and new officers. Congratulations to Joan Jacobs as our new incoming president, Tim Biasotti as the vice president, and of course, Mr. Kramer covering the important stuff with the treasurer's responsibilities. This is a very good conference. Obviously, Councilmember Slutin and I are at the League of Cities mayor and council members updates. I've been texting our city manager with a few of the things that we've been talking about. So looking forward to getting back and getting to work. And that concludes it for me, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Oh, yes. Yes, I would like to add that Congressman Thompson was here the other day and had a wonderful check for $2 million to support the Burns Valley Sports Complex. So, City Manager Fleur, do you want to add something there?
Well, other than I just left that for one of you to mention, and no, none of you did. Glad you circled back.
It was in the newspaper today.
Very nice, because I whispered it.
Yes, yes, thank you. So thank you to Congressman Thompson for his continued support of our community. All right, future agenda items. Does anyone have anything? We have Councilmember Slutin.
One of the items that we talked or heard about today was if we as a councilman or try to behest donations in favor of another nonprofit. And I would like a little bit more clarification from our city attorney in some future council meeting to address that. I'm somewhat concerned about our efforts, in particular with our Rotary Club and LARCA. So.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that to our attention. We actually talked about it earlier today with our city clerk, and we're going to be prepared to address that, as well as there's another law that speaks to getting contributions of $250 or more and your inability as a council member to vote on a project that was from that person who may have contributed to your campaign. It's probably not relevant right now since we're not in campaign season, but it certainly could be coming into 2024. So those are a couple of laws that city clerk and I will be ready to address with the council in an upcoming meeting.
Yeah, we're in the process of scheduling in the next few meetings, just that what we do pretty much every year, which is kind of a refresher on the norms and procedures, Brown Act, so forth. So we'll include that item as part of it.
Thank you both.
Okay, thank you.
Any other future agenda items? All right, seeing none, let's go to closed session.